Hey, fellow beer bastards. So, today's a rather interesting day. Did not plan on doing a beer review today. Actually, my buddy Ken and I, we were going to plan a visit to a brewery today, one we've never been to before, and is frankly kind of a little difficult to get in when it's open because the hours are just really, they got some small windows and only a couple of days during the week. So, uh, with the weather outside being so crappy and everybody driving like idiots, I decided, just to not risk it going out there, just do a beer review. So today I have from Indeed Brewing the Rum King Imperial Stout aged in rum barrels. Get you a closer look at the can there. So the alcohol content on this is 10.5, and we have 70 IBU on here. So with it being an imperial stout, just because it says it's going to be bitter, some of the malts are actually going to balance that out. It's going to be more sweet, at least you would think. So I'm just going to read this little spiel off the back of the can. And excuse me for my... Okay, I won't lie. It's an amazing pirate accent, totally. Yo ho ho! Roll out the barrel for our Imperial Stout. Complex notes of toffee and vanilla make way for a roasty, toasty, pitch black body, burly enough to unshiver your timbers and warm your weary bones. And on the can here it says we should see notes of toffee, molasses, and vanilla. So, without further ado, here we have the pour. So that is expected out of an Imperial Stout. Very dark, thick, black body. And that is a very chocolatey coffee head, not very large head there. So a closer look at that so you can take a look. And it's not too rocky on the foam. It's actually very more uniform than you would see out of most carbonated beers. But since this is a barrel-aged beer, some of that carbonation is gonna dissipate. But you got some actually, could actually see it maybe a little bit, some of the carbonation rolling up the side of the glass. I'm not sure how well that's actually going to catch up on here, but it was a little bit, so, and it still kind of is. But it's trickling out kind of slowly. Oh, yeah, very, very molasses. I would expect that out of rum. Yeah, a little vanilla underneath. I think the molasses and the toffee are kind of mixing together, so they're both kind of like sweet and one's salty, so it's kind of like a little weird trying to pick those up together. But they're both there, but they're not heavy. It's not like you're getting blasted with either one. And as I said, the vanilla is pretty mild. Oh, that is thick, that is creamy, that is heavy. Exactly what an Imperial Stout should be. That is definitely a thick, heavy, creamy body. Oh, very boozy on the front, very boozy. Gonna have to take a couple of tastes of this just to get it down, because I'm not, an experienced beer taster, and barrel-aged beers can be very complex. So you kind of have to take it, one little sip at a time to figure out like which one of the flavors. You try to pick out a flavor, pick molasses, and then see if you can taste molasses. Pick out vanilla, see if you can pick that out. So try to pick that out with the nose first. Okay. Yeah, the body's a real mix of an even mix of toffee and molasses. Definitely the prominent flavors in there, and you can tell that you got the roastiness underneath from the from it being an imperial stout. There's maybe a hint of vanilla in back. There's not much. I was expecting a little bit more, but not really. But it's not a bad thing. It's good. It is definitely very tasty, and it finishes off a little dry, I think. So that being said, I'm actually not going to rate this beer right now because the thing is with barrel aged beers is with them being so complex that you kind of have this can is straight out from the fridge. I should have started out with that, but it is straight out from the fridge. So I'm going to let this sit a little bit, let it kind of breathe and open up, and see how the flavor changes as it gets warmer. So I'll probably let this sit for a good, 20 minutes, half hour, and we'll see what we get from there. Now that I've let this sit for about an indeterminate amount of time. I'm sorry, I was at my computer. I was trying to figure out things for my other videos. I have things to splice and upload and cut together. Anyways, enough of my franticness. Yeah. So this beer's been sitting for a little bit. It's still kind of cold, but nowhere near as cold as it was when I first tried tasting it. So let's get the nose again. Okay. Yep. That opened up the caramel and a little more of the vanilla. Those are coming through a little more. And then there, oh yeah, vanilla's really coming through in the middle. So it really opened up as I expected, it really opened up the flavors of that. There's a little chip in my glass. What the hell? That Ooh, that's not good. Or is that something? Nope, that's a chip. Never mind. So I'm gonna taste this again and see if it tastes any difference. Oh, definitely tastes a lot boozier. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, another sip. Uh, and yes, the head is still there. It's kind of like floating around. That's a good thing. Okay. Anyway, second taste. Much more caramely, actually. And the vanilla's coming through more. It's kind of like the toffee's giving way to the vanilla. The caramel's still sitting there. That's the nice thing about caramel. It just kind of like stays there. And depending, you can kind of get that. And I'm guessing that's staying there just because you can get a caramel flavor out of roasted malts. So I'm not really surprised that it hasn't faded away. We're probably getting more of the caramel from the malts rather than any like caramelized sugar that could be left over from flavor of the rum. Yeah, it's definitely much better warmed up. I would, as far as rating this beer goes, I don't want to do this, but it kind of hurts me because I'm trying not to be biased against the production of the beer or anything or the price point, but these are 12-ounce cans. They come in 4 packs. It's $18 for a 4 pack of this stuff, 12 ounces. And I get that it's a seasonal beer, but at the same time, that is hefty for a hefty price tag for what this beer is. I have found other rum, whiskey, or bourbon barrel aged, hell, even Scotch barrel aged beers that have the same or maybe even more complexity of flavor on this. without that hefty price point. And I know it can be one of those things where, they made this in small batches, which at that point can be understandable, but at the same time, this beer, from what I've dug up, is a seasonal beer. So to have that be its price point, I'm a little bit skeptical on that myself. $18 for a 4 pack of 12 ounces is a bit too much. If they knocked that down by a couple of bucks and added a couple of beers, then yeah, maybe, but I'm just not picking up the complexity from this beer that makes it really stand out, head and shoulders above any other barrel aged beer that, would justify this. But with that being said, it is a beer that if you want a great rum barrel aged beer, do get this, do try it, but don't pay. I would not pay for that. So with that being said, the rating on this, I would have to give it an 8 probably. There's other beers that I've had, as I said, barrel aged beers that I had that are better than this. And honestly, because of the price point, for me, it did hype this beer up. It did hype it up a lot, and I felt like I was, let down a little bit. Kind of, I mean, unfortunately, that's how it goes. I feel like, this was one of those things, everybody talks it up. It's supposed to be a great beer. Here's the price tag. Boom, get it while it's still here. And then kind of like you take a sip of it. Yeah, it's good, but it's not fantastic. It's not like, a 9.5, or 10 beer. It just isn't. But it is, in my opinion, a great beer. It's an excellent beer. And as I said, give it about an 8. And I'll stick with that. So, with that being said, hope you enjoyed this beer review. And remember, stay thirsty, bastards.